Welcome, everyone. I'm putting on my comments. We'll see who's out there today. All right. If you're out there, give me a thumbs up or a little heart. Welcome, welcome. And don't forget on the bottom on your screen somewhere, I think it's to the left, you can always share this video. And after it's over, if you want to save it, you can click on the top three dots in the upper right, and you can save it to your own there. Hi, Sharon from Milton, Delaware. I'm up here in northern Delaware, where it's getting foggy now. All right. So I'm going to come over there where the camera is and show you today's project, and then I'll put the camera on. Well, actually, let me do it this way. I don't know. There we go. First, I'll do this so you can see me. Welcome to Live with Janome. I'm Ann Hine, Embroidery Software Specialist, and today we're working on Mystery Block 2. I'm going to show you how to take the block and make the block, and then how you can also turn it into a mug mat, and that's what I was showing in that first shot. So I'm going to go back to that shot and show you what it looks like. And then I have it partially done in the hoop of my machine. I'm going to put the camera on the machine and we'll see what we can get done over there. And I'll show you how I attach the fabric and all of that, so you have that. If you have any questions, be sure to post them. I do go back. I try to answer them as I'm going, but I do go back afterwards and answer them there too. Let's see, cold Texas. Let's see what everybody's doing first before I move over. Let's see. We got a lot of people here today. All right, people from all over. So welcome, welcome. The other thing I want to say is I brought some notes with me. Where did I put my notes? Here we go. I will post the directions for today over on this page, the Janome Artistic Digitizer page. It's the one with the blue banner. That's our official page, and everything, all the stuff with artistic happens over there. And I move these videos, they stay on this page, but I also bring them over to there. So everything's all in one place. But I will be posting the directions for the block over there later today. I want to proofread one more time. You know how that is. And then the other block is in there too. There's a whole thing under guides on that part of it. And then I do have a little bit of a schedule of what I'm doing in February. So I'm here every Thursday, and they'll be posting those in the mornings of the day of the event. And I think at the beginning of the week they put up the one like a notepad, noteboard, so you can see where we are all week long. And then they post in the morning the person who's doing it. So we do them Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on this page. Now over here, I do one just about maybe every other Tuesday, but I do it earlier in the day at 11 a.m. So that's over there. And then my next one over there will be on the 8th, which is next Tuesday. So I'll be back over there on Tuesday and then again here on Thursday. So Carol Ann's sewing a quilt with her S9. That's great. What else is there? Everybody looks good here. Okay, so let me put the camera over there, and I am going to move. I have to move a few things when I do that. So as I get over there, so hang on. I'll put the camera on our little project over there, and then I'll try to move everything without knocking stuff over. It's kind of a little bit of a challenge here. I got things, and let me put in my better microphone. Let's see here. Let's see if this is picking up. All right, let me first, hold on. For some reason, there we go. There we go. Now it should come over. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me put my comments back up and see what's happening. Can everybody hear me okay? Let's see. Just give a little thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's see. A couple thumbs up. I just changed my microphone to my better one. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm going to move. There. Don't know why I forgot it, but I did. Okay, so I got one thing over there. So today we are making a mystery block number 2, but this block does double duty. And someone had asked me earlier if the block can be made, is it just embroidery? You can actually make something very similar using your sewing machine. I mean, it's you would just have to do things a little bit differently. But today, if you see here, I made these 2 mug mats. They kind of come together. And my inspiration, I had a different project planned today, but we'll do that another time. But I had asked my artist in residence here to make me some cookies that were Valentine themed. So he came up with these 2 here. They look like this. Hopefully you can see that. And they come apart. And I thought, oh, I should just make my mug mat just like that. So that's how that came out. Hopefully I probably just had my arm all in the way. Oh no, there we go. And then there's some up here. These 2 little ones up here. So cute. We'll be eating those afterwards. So I got the idea that the block can be a split block like this. And in your quilt, you could put it right next to each other, or you could put it down at the, in another spot when you're doing your quilt. You don't have to use a heart. You could use a star. You could use something, maybe an animal shape that you like. That would be cute too, like half a dog and the other half over here, and put it in your quilt. So there's lots you can do with it. I just wanted to give you the inspiration, and I'm going to tell you how I did all the elements. I'm going to hold this one up close so you can see it. So on here, and I did put a stipple in here. This is lettering, and I used a font, and then I added a decorative stitch to it. I created this outline. I'm going to show you how to create that. And of course, the half heart, sort of an applique right there. And of course, whenever I do a mug mat, I like to add what I call my channel. So when you get done, there's a little part, the last thing it stitches around, and it leaves this little part here, and that's the channel. And so when I'm ready to close that, it just flips back up in there, just like that. Look at that. I don't have to fight with those ends, and there they go, right up in there. So that's what the channel is for when you're doing a mug mat. You can do this in your sewing machine too, when you're starting to sew around. And you can come up here and go around and come back down and leave yourself a channel. That wasn't my original idea. It's somebody else's. I don't know who, but it was somebody else's. All right, let me see what's going on here. I don't know why this thing is ringing. I turned it off, and somehow it's ringing again. All right, adorable cookies. I know, and they're going to be so yummy. So me and my bestie, I might have to give one of these to Dot, about my Dot and Polka. All right, let me move over to the machine. So hang on while I bring things over here. Oh, and notice my pillows back there. Let me just say, the heart one, it is in the McCall's Quilting magazine, and this is going to come out in the newest magazine, the square one. This is just a project I've done for classes for Janome, so that's what that is. Anyways, all right, so here we are at the machine. And what I did, let me get this to sit nice so I don't have to knock it over. There we go. What I did is I went ahead and I stitched out the outer side of this block. Now this is the cut line on the block, and this inner one is the seam allowance. If you're going to make a block and attach it, this is your finished edge, and this would be the raw edge right there. So, and I did it in bright pink. I wouldn't do it in bright pink. Normally, I would do it probably in a matching thread. And then it stitched the placement line here for that heart. And you would take your fabric and you're going to lay it right there. And then it's going to do the tack down. Now I'm going to take you over to the screen, and I cannot see. Oh, let me take that off. Hang on one second. My welcome. I'll leave my name up there. There you go. You all can see. I'll bring it over here a little bit more. There we are. All right, and I have my hoop pulled forward. I'm going to show you that tab once we get over here by the screen, that you can see how that's going. I'm just moving a couple things out of the way as I move over here. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna move over to the screen and I have to adjust. I might turn this light off. There we go. All right, so here we are on the screen. And right now I have it set up as the whole design. I'm actually on step 4. One of the things when you're working with a design with multiple parts, you can touch this one right here and it'll show you each section as you do it. And it's going to stitch a little line right here to hold the right side of my fabric down. But that hoop forward button is right here. It's the one with the hoop and the arrow. So when you push that, it's actually going to move my quilt, my hoop back to its position. But if I wanted to bring my hoop forward, I would select it and I can select which way I want it to go. I just want it to come forward, so I'm going to touch that one and then it's going to bring it forward. This way I can get my hands in there if I'm placing stuff, if I'm trimming, things like that. So it's a very handy tool. All right, so there we go. So now that I have it there, and when you're ready to sew, if you touch your start button, your machine will give you a little message. Keep hands clear, carriage will start moving. And I just hit the OK and it's going to move back into its position. So here we go. So now it's going to go right back into the position where it's going to stitch this. And it's actually just stitching this in the seam allowance of here. So here we go. And I'm just going to show you how to stitch this and how to trim it. And then we'll go back to how to create it. There we go. Now, for some reason, when I created this one, I didn't change my stitch to running stitch. I left it at triple. So I would definitely make that change in my pattern because it doesn't need to be there. Now, the next part of it is going to be the tack down. So I'm going to hit start and the tack down. Now, if you were doing this with just your sewing machine, you could create an applique and stitch just this side of it. And it's getting in position to do the finishing stitch on there, but I need to trim. So I'm going to bring it forward. Actually, I'm going to bring it. Oh, that's good. I'll bring it over there. So this is where you can use scissors like this. These are a duckbill scissor, okay? And you can get those in a lot of different places. Your Janome dealer should have them. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lift up, put the duckbill part on the bottom, and snug it up against those stitches and just stitch around like this. There we go. And I would just stitch all the way around and take the, trim all the way around those stitches and take this off. Now, sometimes I do it in this direction too. Let me see if I can get the bottom corner. Sometimes I do it the other way, like this, and it still works good because it snugs it up there and it does keep you from trimming your stitches. Because I can't always turn my hand when I'm demoing, so you can do it in both directions. So it gives you a nice trim up close to your stitches. And when I'm ready to go, I hit my start button and OK. It's going to move back into position and it will stitch that decorative stitch that I've put around here. And then it'll come back and do this portion. It'll do the stippling that's on here and the lettering. And then, because this is a mug rug, I put the little extra piece on there to add that fabric. Okay. So before I move off of here, are there questions on the machine or what I've done so far? And then I'll go ahead and go back to the other side. So we'll see if there's any questions. So far, so good. All right, let's see what's going on here. All right. So let me move my camera back to the other side. There we go. Gotta undo a wire here. We're caught up a little bit. And I'll move this over here to the good picture. And I think I'll borrow one of these to take over there with me. There we go. All right. Now, back to the other side of the room. Someday I'll have somebody video me as I'm trying to do this because it's, I've got my room set up the best that I can. So that's what we do. All right, so here we go. Let me put it on me first, and then we'll go to the software to make sure we don't have any questions. There we are. All right, so I'm checking again. Everything looks good. There's no questions. So this is actually this is one of the mug rugs. But if you did this as a block, you would attach it to your other blocks this way around the edge of it. So it's very similar. It just wouldn't have the backing on it like this, or the little piece down here if you're doing a quilt block. Okay, and the blocks that I'm doing for my quilt right now, I'm not adding a piece of back fabric, because once I get my quilt top done, I'm joining them a different way, and then I'm going to attach it to my backing fabric. But you can add fabric to your back as you go with the quilt. If you want to do that too, you can do. There's lots of ways to add the fabric and then attach your blocks together. But I'm going to show you the way that I do it when we get done. Yes, you can do. Karen's asking if you can do this. Some of this you can. So Karen, this is just this side is a half of a heart. So you could use your like a satin stitch to stitch that down around your heart. And let's see, this is hard to do. There we go. Around your heart. Instead, this is embroidered, but you could put some kind of a trim, or you could do decorative stitches around there. That would be really pretty. And then for the lettering, you can purchase letters. You can draw, you can make appliques out of these letters too. And then of course, stippling is stippling. You can just stipple on there. So it's a flexible project. So you could do it with either machine. And I showed that earlier, last year in November, I did a mug rug that I did both in the machine for embroidery, and then I showed you how to do it on your sewing machine. So a lot of it's adaptable that way. All right, let me put the software on, and we will play with this just a little bit. Here we go. All right, so here I opened up the whole block, and you can see the different parts over here. This is the first stitch out. I usually hoop my stabilizer and my batting, and then I lay my base fabric down, and this will hold the base fabric. And then this is that inner, you can see it right here. I'll go in close. This is the inner, this is the seam line to make it the right size block. And then this is the placement line. This is the tack down. Let me see if I get these to move today. Here we go. These are the tack down lines. Hang on one second. There we go. That's the tack down on that right side. Then we have the tack down to the heart, that's where I trimmed after I stitched that. There's the satin, there's the outer, there's your stipple, and there's the last piece. Now, if you were doing the mug rug, you would add this piece here, this last piece, and it's in the list here, right there. Okay. Yeah, so the tutorial that I did in November, if you search on the page we're on right now, under my name, and maybe even put hashtag mug rug, those videos will come up that way, or with my name. So how I started this, I'm going to go to my browser, is we made that block base way back when we first started. So I would open my block base, and that gives me my inner and outer. So those are all set. I don't have to recreate those every month. It's ready to go. And then I would go up and save this, not as block base, but I would go up to my file, save as, maybe. Oh, there it goes. And I am on a Mac, so it's a little different. On your PC, you'll have the tree on the side. The Mac works goes out more to the right, where most of your stuff in your windows is a little different. So I can put it in here, and maybe I want to put it, maybe it's going to be in there. Oh, I don't want it under crochet. Let's see if I have a folder already made. There it is, mystery quilt. So put it in my mystery quilt, and I'll open block 2. All right, and then I can name this, I'm going to call it A side. Whoops. Can I spell? I cannot spell today. Okay, so I saved it. And the reason I saved it is now I won't lose my block base, because I'll always have it. So I'm going to do my first side. And the first thing I want to do is put that heart in here. There's hearts in several different places. One of the places you can go is tools. You can go to insert symbol and find a heart. You can go in your clip art library and find a heart. And let's see if I can find, I don't know if it's labeled heart. There we go. So here's a heart right here. That's the one I used. And then you're going to click here and just click and drag your heart right there in the middle of your piece. All right. And then what I did is I brought it to the center of my hoop like that, so that I could see the line down the middle, because I'm going to cut it in half. And to cut this in half, of course, I use that favorite tool of mine, the knife tool. So I'm going to create my outline shape with a line right here. That's the line I'm going to cut it on. So you do right click, or left click, right click, and shape. You select your line and your heart, right click, knife, and then click off of it. And you should be able to see it's still grouped. So I'm going to right click and ungroup. And then I'm going to click on this side, and I'll show you. And I'm going to take that side away because I don't need it. And I'm actually going to build all one side, and then I'm going to copy and save it. You can't see my screen. Oh wait, I did put it on. Hang on one second. I should be on the software, not the camera. This is the camera. Hang on one second. I'm not sure what happened here. Because on mine, it's showing the software. Only a corner, right? Yeah, only a corner of my screen is showing. There we go. Oh, some weird thing is happening. It's always okay, let me see what happens. It's over here. Oh, maybe. Hang on one second. I think. Oh, what happened here? Hang on. I don't know what happened. It seems like oh, there we go. Nope. Hang on one second. I'm trying to figure out my screen change. Let's see if this changes. Nothing there. All right, hang on one second. I'm going to try one more thing. Now, there we go. Can we see it now? Let's see if it goes now. Hang on one second. There we go. Now you can see the whole software. So let me start again. And I apologize. I didn't realize I had zoomed. It had zoomed in the software on me. There we go. So to get that heart, you're going to come up here to your tools, into your clip art library, insert clip art. You can do a search for heart. There's lots of hearts in different places. You can pick any heart you like. I'm using this one. Insert, click and drag. Let me move this up. Click and drag. And then I'm going to select it and select it and move it to the center. Now I would have used center to hoop, except I have other things in the hoop and it would all skew. I could have zeroed these out over here and that would have put it in the center. Now I need to draw that line to cut it in half, outline shape. I'm gonna left click, right click, and shape. I'm gonna select my line. I'm actually gonna move my line a little bit because it's not quite, there we go. This will be enough center of it for this. And then while it's selected, I can hit Shift and click my heart. And right click, and then you'll see the word knife. There we go. All right, sorry about that, everybody, but thank you for letting me know. I hate to get to the end. So now it is grouped. I'm gonna have to right click on it, ungroup, and I'm just gonna remove one side of it. I'm gonna create all one side first up into the stipple, and then I would create the other side of it. I'll mirror image it and then move it over so you don't have to, everything, it comes out a lot better that way. All right, so now I just need to take the line out that's right here. So what I'm gonna do is you can cut it with your knife. You can also come in here and use the split outline. So I can click on this node right here, right click, and down at the bottom it says split outline. So I can split that. And I could come down here on this one, right click, and split outline. And I'm going to pull it out and show you. It's attached. You can see up there how it's unattached, and down here it's unattached, but it's still grouped together, or maybe I need to break apart. So I'm going to right click and I get break apart, and now I can touch this part and remove it. And I'm just going to move it to the side here, and it's going to be that line that I put out here in the edge. Remember I had that stitch line? So I'm going to move it over here. I'm actually going to make it a little small, a little shorter. I think I'm going to make it the height of it actually at 2.5. There we go. And then in properties, I'm going to make it, remember it was a triple, I'm going to make it a running, and I'm going to click on triple and make it none. So it's just a straight stitch. So that's what that is. Now I have my heart here that I can work with. And the heart, I'm just going to bring the heart over just like this and put it right over here. Now before I get there, one of the things too for this heart, you might want to make your heart a little bit smaller. So let's see if I put the size in here. Okay. Yeah, I think this is okay. Let me look at the one that I have done. This heart is almost a little over 4 inches. So my new heart is, side A, is a little over 4 inches. So I could bring that down just a bit. So let me change that. I'm going to click proportional, and I'm going to go here to 4. And the reason for that is when you do that outer border, you want to have room for that inside your lines. So just move this over. Let's click on it, click over. And I'm using my arrow keys, and I can slide it over and put it just over the seam line. See that gold seam line? So there it is. And you could adjust this to be shorter if you don't like that much in your seam allowance. You can do that. All right, so that is the first start of my block. And I like to turn off auto so I can see the sections as I make them. Now, this heart, I'm going to actually make it a different color. And as I go along, I'm going to make things different colors. So that heart's going to be pink. That can stay blue, that's fine. And so this is going to be the satin stitch of my heart, but this actually stitches first, so I can actually click it and grab it, move it up as I go. All right, so select this, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to turn it into a running stitch because it's going to be my placement line. And that running stitch, I'm going to turn it into another color. So let's make it, we used pink, let's use vermilion. So now you can see there's the satin, there's the placement, and then I need the tack down, and then I'll reorder, because I know you're all thinking, how do you reorder? So duplicate again. I'm going to change the color on this one to green. In properties, did it change color? It didn't change color. Hang on. Let's get green. There we go. In properties, I'm going to make this a zigzag. So it's right there. Excuse me. And in your search, if you do put a Z, you'll get zigzag 8. And then I'm going to make some changes in my zigzag so that the width of it, I like the width of it to be 0.102, and that's inches. If you're in metric, just put in 0.102 IN and it'll turn it to metric for you. Then down here, I'm going to mirror it along. So I can mirror it along. And then I want to offset it, because you can see here, let's pull in, see how it's over the edge there? I want it centered over my satin. It's actually going to be behind there, but we're going to put it there now. Offset, you want your offset to be 0.039, and you'll see that move. There we go. So now it's centered under there, and the length of it, I can change the length to 0.118. There we go. So it's a little bit further apart. So now I need to reorder those, right? And I'm going to do that before I get too far along. So I know I need this one here first, because it's going to show me the placement. It needs to go above that line. So when you saw me stitch it out, it stitched this, then I laid my fabric down, then it held the fabric on the right side, then it did that little bit of zigzag tack down, and then I had my satin stitch. So my satin stitch, I did make it, it is wide, it's 3mm. And then I went in here, you could make it even wider if you want. I went in here and chose a pattern. You can pick any pattern you like. There's lots of fun ones. I think I chose maybe this one. And it's hard to see on here, but there it is. So now that half heart is all done, what I need to add now is the border. And the border, I think, is really the most fun. So now on the one that I stitched out, I have a different border. And on here, that's the one I stitched out. And then I have a new border that I'm going to show you how to make. This little design here came from something else I created, so I used it again. But for you, you want to use something that's in the program. So if you go to Tools, to your clip art library, and I love that everything I need is always in the program somewhere. And I'm going to go to, I think it's corners. And I need this one here, corner 6. And insert. And I'm just going to click and drag it right here. And I want just this little part right there. So I have to do break apart and then maybe ungroup. Then I can delete all this other stuff. All right, now I have my little design and I need to apply it to my heart. So I'm going to select my heart. I'm going to come up here to, well, actually, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to select my heart and I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to make it a running stitch in properties. So come up here. There we go. Let's click off of that. Let's see if I can change one of these. I need this. Hang on one second. Yeah, let me go back. All right, let's copy paste this. Let's change the color first. I always like to have the color changed, then I know where everything is. So that's the one I'm working with. And then from here, I want to change it to a running stitch, just none. And I'm going to select, let's bring this guy down close. I'm going to select these two. So I can select there, or I can select here. And then I'm going to come in here and select outline and array, and it puts it right on the line. All right, so let me go back so I can show you that again. So I brought in that little design, and I need to select the design and my outline. So to select two things, I can click here, shift click here, in outline properties, hit array, and it brings it over here. Now I need to move it outside of my shape a bit, and that's where I can take my offset. And in my offset, let's see where the offset is on this one. Let's see, it is, gotta find my right page here. All right, so the offset is negative 0.197, I believe. There it goes. Now it's outside there a little bit. It probably has to go a little bit more. And then my rotation was 94. And actually then this one I'm going to have to change this a little bit more. Let's go 180. There we go. So you play around with your offset and your, let's see, negative point. Let me get this right here. So you play around with your offset, getting it where you want it. You can rotate your pieces around. If you don't want to work with your rotate and your offset, come up here and work with your scale. So we can make it, let's make it like 5% bigger. There we go. So now it's maybe a little 5% more. So you can have a lot of options to work with. There we go. I like that. To work with your piece, you can work over here in your offset and your rotate and your spacing. You could do all of that. If you want them closer together, you can change your spacing here. And then once you get it where you want it, and you have all the pieces where you want, this is where you're going to end up going in here to separate to objects, because I want to remove this one, and I also want to remove that one. And I think I want to go a little bit more on my scale, so I'm going to go 103. There we go, just a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to separate to objects. That makes them all individuals. And then I'm going to ungroup them. And then I can take this one and delete it. I can grab this one and delete it. Whoops, let's get it. There we go. And then I want to delete this purple because I don't need it. There we go. And this guy. So creating an outline with a design is really not that difficult because we have that array tool right over here in our properties. So we can create the line that we want it on, and it doesn't have to be a closed shape. This was just a partial line. And then you can apply your shape to it using the array tool right here. So I think that's a great, fun tool to use. So that's pretty good right here. This one is a little bit in the way, and also I'm a little high. So I may select all of this for just a second and bring it down here. And I could take it out a little bit. There we go. So I could remove this guy. Maybe I'm just going to make him a little smaller just at this moment, just to get him outside there we go, just for now. All right, so you would play around with that till you get exactly where you want it. Then you separate to objects. Then you can play with the individuals if you want to. So now that that is set, I would need to put my lettering in and then my stipple. At this point, I would select all. So I'm going to either do Control A or drag and get all of it. It's all in the order I need it so far. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to open a new page. I'm going to right click and paste it. Then while it's still selected, I'm going to come up here to mirror. And now I have my other side. So I would save this as side B. And the reason I don't put the stipple in yet is when you put your lettering in, the stipple is going to go around your lettering. So you don't want to add it just yet. So let me show you how easy it is to add the stipple. So here's your shape that you want your stipple. So I'm going to go in here to outline shape, and I'm going to hit Shift and click. I'm just going to create my new shape right here. And it can be like right up against those. And I'm shifting and clicking to get those squares. There's my shape. Select it, come over here to fill and stipple. Down here, I can change my density, maybe to 0.25. Oops, let's highlight that and get that in there. There it is. I can change my stitch length if I want. Maybe I like my length at 3.0 mm. And then I can adjust my nodes to see how this is weird up here? So if I move these nodes a little bit, I can get some different shapes. There we go. So just adjust your nodes to bring your stipple in as close as you want to wherever you want it. And focus is off. See, I don't control focus, so I'm not sure on that. Vicki, did it come back in? So now when you put your lettering in there, your lettering will make the stitches move around it. So here we go to text. And in my other computer, I did have a font called Kristen that I really like. Let's see if it's in here. It is not. All right, so we'll just pick one up here. I'm just going to pick this Arial one right here. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to type an I, and then I'm going to select it. You can use your, oops, there we go. And you can see, I'm going to rotate it. You can see that when I change the color of this, let's change the color of my eye. And there it is. Can you see over here? It moved my stipple right around my eye. So now I'm all done with my block. All right, so let me go back to the camera really quick because I know I always go long. I know Celine tries to do a half hour. I cannot do a half hour. So I love that you guys hang in there with me. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you, so that's the block. So from there, you would go to your other block and you could put your other letter, do your stipple and do your other letter and you're good to go. I love how I can create my stipple to the exact shape that I want. On one of the pillows that I had on my table, where that design was around my heart, I actually put nodes down in there. So I got my stipple, I used a tiny, tiny stipple. I got stipple right in those points. So it's really a wonderful way to get a stipple exactly where you want it, exactly how you want it in your piece. All right, so up to this point, are we good with questions? Everybody seems to be pretty good. So far, I love that stipple. I love creating that outline. There's a lot of things, I might have to play around with that some more. There's a lot of outline things that I think I could play with. So let me show you how I created, that last box that creates the channel. Okay, this is the channel right here. This part right here. Let me show you how easily I create the channel from something that's already in my design. All right, everybody looks good. All right, let's go back to the software really quickly. There we go. And what I did was, let's pretend that this one here is going to be my mug rug. There we go. And so on here, I grabbed the gold line that I had, and I did a copy and a paste. Now the difference between, you saw me do copy and paste and duplicate. Copy and paste puts the copy at the bottom of your list. Duplicate puts it right after the one that you selected. So sometimes it's easier to keep things in order, like with the shape of the heart. I did duplicate, so I knew all my heart pieces were together. I didn't have to go to the bottom of my list. And when you have a lot of things in your list, that makes a difference. So I put it down here. I'm going to change the color of it. I'll make it this lime green so I can see it. So there it is down here. It's highlighted pink right now. To get nodes on this, because it's a shape, it's only going to give you a center node. So if I did edit nodes, it only gives me really a center node. To get nodes on every four corners, which I really need, I'm going to come up here to convert to curves, and then go to edit nodes. Now I have my corner nodes, so you can see my corner nodes. And I'm going to add a node right here in the center. So I'm going to right click right there, and I'm going to select actually split outline. So it's actually giving me two nodes there. And then I'm going to go about an inch or so away, right click again, and I'm going to do add a node. I'm going to select it again and make it a cusp. The cusp are the square nodes to make corners. So I'm going to go on this side, right click, add a node, and then I'm going to click again and add a cusp. Then I just have to grab this, bring it down here like that, bring this down here like that. Isn't that fabulous? Now I have that outline. I'm going to click off of it so you can see. Now I have that piece that will make the bottom of my, for my mug rug. So you can keep it all together in one design if you want, and then when you're stitching a block, you wouldn't stitch this part. You would leave it off. You can even delete this one here, the gold one. When I'm doing a mug rug, I wouldn't use the gold one. I don't need it. This outer one's going to hold my fabric, so I don't have to worry about it. This is just extra for when you're doing a quilt block, but when you do your mug rug, you don't really need it. All right, so let me go back, and I'll put the camera back on. I'll finish up. I got some cookies to eat. There we go. Well, so hopefully now, what I love about this is, even though this is the mystery block for February, it's block number 2, you can do a heart if you want. I love the idea of like a dog, like the head of a dog on one and the back of a dog on another. That would be really cute. You could do something with maybe, I'm trying to think some other shapes. A star shape you could do that with. A lot of different things. There's going to be a lot on that. So Renita is asking about directions. So I'll be posting the directions later today over here. There it is on the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page underneath guides. Now guides is at the top of the page, and under guides you'll find mystery quilt block party, and block 2 directions will be there. So you'll be able to find those directions right there. It's the easiest way. You do need to join the page over here, and it's just applying, and then I just approve you. So it's no problem. There's no questions. It's very easy. So make sure you're joining this one. You want to join the one with the blue banner. That's where all the stuff is. All right, let me go back and see if there's any other questions. Now, Karen, are you the one with you have a 4120, so you'll be free motioning there. So you'll want to put on your either a hopping foot or ask about the convertible free motion foot too. We do have some great videos on free motioning if you want to take a look at those. I think Mitzi Red has done some.
and there's a couple other people. Maybe even Alba has done a few. I'm not sure. On the top of my head, I can't think. But there's another page you can go to, Kim Jamison Hurst. I think that's how she pronounces it. She does great videos. Amy Dryersback Johnson, one of our dealers, she has a whole page of her own that she called, um, is it Amy Sews? That might be that one. All right. Oh, thank you, Joyce. Well, the thing with now, Joyce is saying she loves how I use different ways. The thing is, there's not a lot of times there's not just one way. Sometimes, I do it my way, and I think maybe that's a little convoluted, and then I look to see what else is out there. So there's lots of different ways, and I love that because not every time the way you want to do it might not work. So you always have to think about that. You can try different things. All right, so I'm going to let everybody go. Have a great day, rest of the day, and enjoy the weekend. It's coming up, it's right there. And I'll see you next week on Tuesday over here under the Janome Artistic Digitizer page, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's East Coast USA. And then I'll be back here on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so bye for now, everyone. Have a great one. Thanks for joining me in the studio today.